America's workforce. Its strength is our nation's success. Join I Build America podcast as we explore innovative solutions and inspiring stories from leaders and workers shaping America. Discover actionable insights to build a motivated workforce.
I build America.
Hello, my name is Lorraine Lane, and welcome to I Build America podcast, where we spotlight the people and programs that are strengthening America's workforce. Today, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia at Bravo Ocean Studios, and my guest is Peni Webster-Lewis, the former regional director of the Office of Job Corps in Atlanta, Georgia. Peni, welcome.
Thanks, Lorraine.
Good. You know, you are very near retiring, like in one day?
Yes.
And how does that feel?
Actually, it's exciting, but a little nervous because it's an entirely new situation.
Oh, yeah?
So I'm not really sure how I'm going to feel when I'm really retired.
When you're really retired. I got it. So let's say this. Now that you're near retiring, you can spill the tea and tell me all the stuff that I need to know. But no, on a serious note, you have really had an impact on youth workforce development. You've seen a lot of changes in the program. You know, you and I have known each other almost 30 years, and both working in the Job Corps industry and working in youth development. So this feeling, you said, hey, in a day I'm going to be retired, the uncertainty of things. Let me ask you, what has this program taught you in retrospect to youth workforce development?
The most important thing is an opportunity is necessary. Everybody's path is different.
Absolutely.
Everybody's life experience is different, but everyone deserves an opportunity to improve their life. And so what working through the past 30 plus years in this program has shown me with the successes we've seen, not only in policy changes and program development, but in the lives that we touch. You know, the young person who came in and didn't think they could do anything,
right,
or felt like no one believed in them. And when you see that young person go across the stage, perhaps for the only time they'll ever graduate, do that in this program or any youth development program, it's exciting.
Right.
It's rewarding. That's the benefit. And what I've learned most is that the life you touch is more important than any title that you have. So,
all right. Nice. That is really sweet. So what's the biggest misconception that people have about youth workforce development?
I don't think they understand that the emotional development of a young person is a phased process. You don't just suddenly turn 18 and somebody sprinkles fairy dust on you and you know exactly what to do.
Really? No, right.
Yeah, really. Because the brain, the youth development, the development of the brain goes for a much longer time than 18.
Correct.
We think 18, you're an adult, you're responsible, you know what you're supposed to do, and you're just going to do it. That's not true.
Absolutely not.
And it doesn't matter whether you're a high school graduate or not, because if you look at statistics of every 4 children that go to college, all 4 don't graduate.
Right.
Maybe at best 2 of the 4, and most times 1 of the 4. So the developmental process is important, and we have to nurture that. So I think that the misconception is that you turn 18 and you've got it all together.
No, not at all. I mean, if you think about just our own time in college and how many majors we may have changed and decided to take. So what has, all these years, what have you learned from young people?
Resilience.
Very good word.
Resilience. Because we don't even know, sometimes it takes a long time for us to connect with an individual student. And we don't know the path with the life they lived. Our homeless population of young people that have couch surfed for maybe a year or more.
But they still have that desire. Yeah.
They do. They have the desire to be better, to do better.
Right.
And they just need the support.
Agreed.
So what I've learned is that the opportunity is the most important thing. That opportunity has to be there.
Right.
And someone has to help them.
Right. Very good choice of word on opportunity. So let me ask you this on an employment training kind of reality. If you had $1 for everybody, every time someone said to you, these young people just don't want to work, how much money would you have in the bank?
Oh, I wouldn't have to worry about lifestyle changes at all. I'd have a couple of million, maybe even with a T, a trillion with a T.
So there is this misconception that young people don't want to work or they don't have good work ethics. And one of the things, you just said was about opportunity. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to do another podcast with someone else, and they talked about, talent meeting opportunity, that there's a lot of talent out there, but someone has got to be there to open those doors to provide that opportunity for our young people. What separates training programs that look good on paper and those that are actually doing the work?
I think it's the outcomes.
Okay.
I mean, that's the only way to put it. If a young person isn't better off from the program that they're in than they were when they came, or they could have achieved what they've achieved post-program without the program, that's what separates the wheat from the chaff, if you will.
Right.
I don't want to see a kid come through any youth development program and end up working at Burger King.
Absolutely.
So if they're getting a skilled training, we have to connect them to the industry that they're interested in and talented in. So we really have to do the coaching and the realistic conversation with the young person. Yeah, you might want to be this, but you don't have necessarily the talent to do this. So they need to get good counseling and direction, and then encouragement along the way to stick to it. And then when they're at the end, make sure that we hand them off, not a drop off, but hand them off to an employer.
So those are those wraparound
wraparound supports and services.
So I want to back up to something just to kind of, for our listener. When we say, hey, you didn't come to this program to get a job at Burger King, however, you might be on that management track. So there could be that opportunity there. So I think maybe those skill sets are teaching them perseverance, to not just get the entry-level job, but to take the entry-level job and take the next track up, the management level, okay? And I knew that you and I would agree with that.
Yes. If you think about our careers.
Oh, absolutely.
I started as an orientation specialist.
There you go. There you go. And in the listening world, what is an orientation specialist?
It's the person who welcomes a new student onto campus and gets them set on their initial path to success. But as you develop, even at our level, you end up as the acting deputy administrator of the national program. But it started
right there,
way back there.
You've had experience. I introduced you as the former regional director for the Atlanta Office of Job Corps, but you've also worked on a Job Corps center.
Yes.
So you've had boots on the ground, understanding, what goes on in the day-to-day operation of one of America's biggest youth training programs, the Job Corps program. All right, so I just wanted to get that out. What skills matter just as much as technical training skills?
Oh my gosh, soft skills.
What are soft skills?
Meaning how to work in a team.
Okay.
How to show up on time. How to complete a task and realize the urgency with it.
Okay.
Those are the soft skills, how to get along with your coworkers, how to communicate effectively, how to deal with conflict.
So I've heard employers say, hey, we can train them. We need to have those skill sets that they're coming to work on time. So those are some of the challenging social skills, for lack of a better word, that we work with to teach our young adults. Retirement and legacy. What legacy would you like to have left, or did you feel that you left in the youth workforce program?
I think I've left a legacy of compassionate care.
Okay.
And understand, and one of developing emotional intelligence for the staff that work with the students, as well as the staff at the federal level who develop policies that impact what center staff do with students or with young people. I think that has been one of the things that I've left, is that it's a person first.
Okay.
We can't, on a center, having worked on a center, you know that you don't pack up at 5 o'clock and walk away and just close up your desk like you do in a regional or even national office of a program. When at the end of the business day, you clear your desk, walk out the door. It doesn't work like that on a center or any place that's dealing with young people because it's a person there, not just a piece of paper.
Okay.
So my legacy to me is to have imparted on the staff that I supervise to realize the gravity of what we did.
Okay.
The significance of what we did and the policies that we write because it impacts the individual person receiving the services.
Understood. And I think that's a really admirable legacy to have left as you walk into a retirement. What accomplishments are you most proud of?
Believe it or not, it was, a couple.
Okay.
At the center level, it's when you've seen improvement of the center outcomes.
Okay.
Moving a center from what we used to call the back page
Right.
to a top 50 percentile. That's a big lift when a center is poor performing. So that was a big accomplishment, but it wasn't just me. It was being able to develop the team to get that done and to encourage the students to stick it out. And we did that together, students, staff, and leadership.
Okay.
At the regional level, turning a region from the poorest performing region in the country to in the top 3.
Nice.
So,
that is an accomplishment.
Yes. And then at the national level, the privilege and the honor of being asked to serve as the deputy administrator, acting deputy administrator for a program with 124 sites. I was so proud of that accomplishment because it meant that what I'd been doing at the smaller levels had demonstrated that I had the capacity and the ability to move the needle at the next level. And that was very rewarding.
So you've seen your career just like stack, in progress. And that is something very, very, very important. And you should be very proud of it. What advice would you give the next generation of workforce leaders?
Patience.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to stick. It's like, this is not a job, this is not a career field that you get rich. So if you're looking for this just to make a lot of money, that's not going to happen. It is a true labor of love. It is a desire to help fellow man, help our country, because the young people, that's our future. If we don't invest in them, they're not going to be prepared to take on the world, truthfully, because, so many have different, the world's changing with technology.
Oh, absolutely.
Everything is changing so quickly. AI is a new challenge. So all of those things, people have to stick with this. They have to understand and also be adaptable themselves.
Right.
We can't do what we did
30 years ago.
Right. Or 60 years ago, because this program
5
is
years
60
ago.
years.
Let's just say 5 years ago.
We can't.
Yeah.
So you need to be flexible. You need to have stick-to-itness. You have to be willing to grow yourself.
Right.
So you have to always, learning is lifelong. It is not a one and done or get your degree, get your master's degree, get your PhD, and then you're done. No, because things keep evolving.
Right.
So you have to evolve.
Be willing to evolve.
Be willing to evolve.
So I'm going to turn that same question around. We're talking about workforce leaders. What would you want employers to know about the segment of services that we provide to youth workers?
I would like them to know that we provide all of the wraparound services to put the supports there in place for young people. There are a couple of major employers that we've worked with, that we've piloted a little program, like get students who are ready to get placed into a job where they can stay attached to Job Corps for a little while, in particular career fields where there's a large employer, and they can stay and do their transition, and they're starting to work already.
Okay.
So that having those opportunities, true paid work-based learning opportunities, is really important.
Kind of sounds like apprenticeship across the board, not just in construction.
Not just in construction, any field that, that can do that, because a young person finishing training, if they don't have parental family support, they won't have the financial resources to make it on their own initially. So they're going to need some additional support. So partnering with the workforce industry to give those real world paid, not just apprenticeships, but internships, so that students have an opportunity to earn enough to be self-sustaining, at least for the first 90 days on a job, so that until they can, catch themselves, if you will.
So let's be honest. What are you going to miss most? The meetings, the acronyms, the emails, or the weekly reports? You only get to pick from those.
What am I going to miss the most?
Right? Meetings, acronyms, reports. What else did I say? And emails. Clock's ticking.
Meetings. We'll say meetings.
Meetings. Okay. All right. Not acronyms, huh?
No.
All right. I heard you say something the other day that I don't think a lot of people know this about you. In one of your past employments, that you are a vet.
Yes.
And the piece that I didn't know, I knew you were a reservist. I did not know that you actually served in active duty. And I think you said 16 years.
13.
13.
Yes.
Okay, 13 years. So riddle me this, okay? Little Batman humor here. What was that transition like, going from a military service involvement to working in a youth development program?
Very eye-opening.
Really? I
Very
imagine
eye-opening. Considering when I left active duty, I was an Army captain, military police corps.
Wow.
So not only was I military, I was very, very structured.
Okay.
And what I learned in my first management role in the Job Corps program as a residential living manager.
Yes, that's when I met
was
you.
that unlike the Army, people don't say how high when you say do something.
Right.
They do not jump. They do not
They don't
jump.
respond to that very well.
They don't respond the same way. So I had to adjust my leadership style.
Nice.
Because your leadership in the military, it's very regulated. It has Uniform Code of Military Justice implications when somebody doesn't do something that their leadership told them to do, if it was a lawful order. Doesn't work like that in the civilian world.
No, not at all.
People look at you cross-eyed like, what? But anyway, I had to adjust.
Okay.
And I had to adapt. And that's why I'm saying it's an evolving. And I had to evolve.
All right.
And the ability to make that adjustment, it still came out sometimes.
Okay.
As you know.
Yes, I do.
But no, I think it helped me because my discipline from my experience in the military, those are transferable skills.
Right.
So the things that you get as a veteran are things that you don't often get in other spaces. And so your commitment to a mission, to a purpose. So whatever it is that your job is, you are committed to getting it done.
Understood.
And so vets do that for any organization.
So earlier I asked you what misconception did people have about youth workforce. I really want to take that same question and ask, what's the misconception that people have about workforce development? You have had the opportunity to see the workforce on a more global scale and understand what may be coming through your ability to forecast with employment and training, workforce development. So based on kind of your bigger scheme of view, what are some of those misconceptions when we talk about workforce development?
I think people think workforce development is just finding someone a job, and it's not that. For example, you have the older worker, you have displaced workers. When industries cease to be relevant and there's still a workforce that needs to be retrained.
Right.
So it's not just youth. We have adults that have to have special services to put them in another career field because their career field is no longer relevant.
Okay.
So workforce is much broader. Even in the Department of Labor, Employment and Training, not just Employment and Training Administration, you've got apprenticeship, you've got youth services. You also have vets. That's not an ETA, but in vets, Veterans Employment and Training Services. So there's a whole agency which is dedicated to help transitioning veterans find placement that's relevant to their skill set, or the training. And even there's moves to have veterans come into Job Corps, for example, those who were not successful with basic training, or those who finished their first tour and decided they didn't want to make the military a career, and they're still in that target demographic. But workforce development is much more than just youth.
Got it.
It's older workers, it's displaced workers, it's apprenticeship, it's veterans.
So in a global scale, workforce development is about meeting those community needs and partnering employers with those in a community that can provide the manpower, the human resource of the employment fields.
Correct. And wherever those needs may be.
Okay. All right. So let's look ahead. What gives you hope about the youth and the workforce?
I think that the fact that there are still good workforce development programs out there, and that organizations have certifications for workforce development, a certified workforce development professional. When we started, there was no such thing as that.
Right.
But now there is.
Right.
And that folks are taking that work as a profession and as a serious need in our country.
Okay.
So I'm hopeful that direction, we stay on that trajectory, that folks who get into this line of work recognize that they need a credential for it.
Right.
Because they're impacting the future of our country. So I'm hopeful that we will continue on that path of doing things to support the underpinnings of programs, not just the program we've worked for forever, but all workforce development, youth development programs, whether it's Youth Build, whether it's Job Corps, whether it's AmeriCorps, any of the programs that are out there that can help young people, even the apprenticeship programs. We need to make sure that those resources are there for them and the staff.
I think the word that you use, the one word that you just used, underpinning, really speaks to where our youth services are as it relates to the dynamics or the diagram of United States workforce, and that our young people are the underpinnings, and those type of services, like you said, whether it's AmeriCorps, Job Corps, Youth Bill, all of those programs provide a viable training component to help that young person that doesn't always necessarily go the 4-year college.
Correct.
All right, so we're looking ahead. What's next for you? Retirement? Something else? Or are we just going to kick back and eat bonbons?
Well, I hope I don't want to do the bonbon bit, because that will not be good for my health.
Okay. So what's next?
First, I'm going to woosah first.
Okay.
And then I've got some little projects that I want to work on. Some self projects that I want to work on. But I don't know if I want to work for anyone.
Okay.
I haven't really decided fully. Probably maybe a little consulting. I mean, my brain's still working, and the 30 years of experience should, make me a good consultant, if you will.
Okay.
So I'll probably consult.
Okay.
Maybe work with my husband in his business, his tax business.
All right, nice.
I don't do taxes,
right.
But help him.
So you ready for your rapid fire?
Sure.
All right, rom-com or thriller?
Thriller.
Okay. Early mornings or late nights?
Late nights.
One word to describe today's youth?
Resilient.
One word to describe workforce development?
Evolving.
Thank you. First thing you're doing on your first official day of retirement?
It's going to be the January 1st.
Right.
Yeah.
First day.
I'm probably be eating the Black eyed peas with rice.
So feeding yourself.
Eating the traditional New Year's meal.
Okay. All right. It has been a pleasure to interview you, to see our friendship and our colleagues come full circle. Who would have thought some 30 years ago we'd be sitting here,
I know,
you on a
right?
podcast talking about your retirement. So this is really, really, really cool. I also want to thank you for your decades of leadership and service to the Job Corps program, to its staff and to its students. This has been an honor, Penny, to interview you.
Thanks, Lane.
Thank you for listening to us today on I Build America podcast. It has been a pleasure to interview Peni Webster-Lewis, the former regional director for the Atlanta Office of Job Corps. Continue to check out our podcast on I Build America podcast. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the I Build America podcast. Please subscribe, share, and comment, and be sure to join us next time for more insights and inspiring conversations on building a powerful American workforce. I Build America, building workforce success one podcast at a time.